Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon session, Agriculture in Bloom, a technical workshop, emerging opportunities in agriculture, celebrating Women's International Day. It is so fitting for us to be having this event, even in a time like this, because, there has been so much dynamic and interesting topics since yesterday surrounding women and their role in society, their role in this global pandemic. When we think about our healthcare workers, it's mostly the women that comes to mind. Women in the home, women in the workplace, in the corporate sphere, and of course, our women in agriculture. They have been doing such a dynamic work. And at this time, we know the time is very short, so we will be moving straight into our agenda because we do have some very interesting and informative presentations to be sharing with the public today. My name is Winston Shaw, and I am Senior Director for Technology, Training and Technical Information at RADA, Rural Agricultural Development Authority. And it's really a privilege for me to be sharing this time with you all. I would just like to, first of all, officially call the meeting to order and begin with an introduction to our first presenter. Some of you might have had an agenda, and there has been a slight change in the agenda in terms of the order in which it will fall. And so Miss Roxanne Little is our first presenter today. And just a little bit about Roxanne. But before I even go into that, let me just welcome everyone on our virtual platform. Some might be joining through our Instagram page, Rada's Instagram page, some through maybe the web link, YouTube. And of course, this is our Zoom connection. So we welcome everyone. We know there are some very prominent persons online. We have over 90 participants at this time. And so let me just say all protocols observed. I will not go through at this point in time, but there might be some persons who the producer may need mentioning, but we will get to that as the program goes on. So all protocols observed, and we welcome all our viewers, all our listeners, and thank you for joining us. So we begin with Roxanne Little. Roxanne Little grew up in a farming community in Nile Niles, St. Anne. Not many persons would, we know that area through because we have some very prominent persons who came out of that era. But, interestingly enough, in years gone by, when we had a robust bauxite mining, many of the farmers in that particular community lost their lands due to the mining, bauxite mining. But Roxanne's heart was set, right? And even though she little, she talawa. And her heart was set to find a way to continue her passion in farming. And out of that birthed tower farming technology. And she is going to be sharing with us and giving more details of her adventure and her accomplishment in growing vegetables in towers. And also worthy to mention is that she is from the Grassroots Jamaican Farm Limited. All right. So I now hand over to Roxanne Little as she will be doing her presentation at this time. Thank you.
Pleasure being here. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being here and to share with you my journey with the Tower Farms and how it came about. So one of my visit back home to Jamaica in 2011, when I got to Jamaica, of course, like you said before, there was a lot of mining by bauxite. Bauxite have mined a lot of the land, and that because where I came from in 9 Mile, almost 90% of everybody there is farmers. I grew up on a farm. My dad is a farmer all my life. So after I migrated to the States, um, my passion for farming was always there because farming is what got me to where I am today. So when I got home and saw how bauxite mined our land, a lot of farmers were without any land to farm. And so that became a search for me and how we are going to sustain ourselves and how these farmers were going to live. And of course, most Jamaican know that St. Anne is the bread basket of Jamaica. So as a farmer and grew up as in a farming community, you know, my pride was a little bit crushed because we were no longer able to farm and people were out of work. So on trip to back to the States, I was in search of something that would bring back pride to my community and to the people who farm, you know. So I was going through Chicago O'Hare Airport back in 2011, and I saw a tower garden, and I was just like blown away, like what that was, and I needed to know more. So as I researched Tower Farm and Tower Garden, you know, it made a lot of sense because we lost our land and because where I live, it's high mountain. 9 Mile is way up in the Dry Harbor Mountain, so our water table is very low. So meaning we're not able to get a well and so forth. So we rely on rainwater. And whenever the rainfall, it would run off deep because of the low water table. So Tower Farm became the solution to the problem. And for me, seeing that it's innovative and the way the future is going. So I wanted to bring this technology um, to Jamaica, and it was opened up a year ago, and I was the first person to be able to bring it to the Caribbean. So I'll go into that and let you know, show you a short video of how it works, and we'll discuss later further on in the presentation. So we'll show you the video.
Tower Garden's state-of-the-art aeroponic vertical garden system uses both water and air to produce more colorful, better-tasting, and incredibly nutritious fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Tower Garden has a 20-gallon reservoir at its base that stores the Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Developed by experts in plant and human nutrition, Tower Tonic Mineral Blend enables superior plant growth and better nutrition from your Tower Garden produce. The process begins once the seedlings have been placed in your tower garden. Here they will be nourished with Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Inside the reservoir is a small, low-wattage submersible pump. The pump pushes the nutrient solution up through the tower to the top. From there, the nutrient solution drips through the central tower using a special device that evenly cascades the solution over the exposed plant roots. On the journey down the tower, the nutrient solution feeds the roots and becomes highly oxygenated as it cascades gently down the reservoir. This process is continuous, providing fresh oxygen, water, and nutrients to the roots of the plants. This patented aeroponic process enables food crops to grow faster than they would in soil. so they can be harvested more often. And it makes Tower Garden the healthier, easier, smarter way to grow your produce.
So go to so from here, as you see in Tower Garden, solved some of the problems that we were having here because of mining. It's able to grow on less land, because we're growing vertical. And the water reservoir, it's on a timer system, so we're not always using, and the plants are not able to just sit and submerge in water. In So here, there's 7 advantage of the aeroponic with tower garden. The advantages are you can almost grow anywhere. We have tower farms all over the world, on rooftops, in restaurants, of course, like I said, the airport, and more so in Europe. Now there's a lot of tower farms popping up. But most importantly, especially with what's going on now, tower farm is not just a commercial farm or a residential farm. You're able to have a tower garden in your home, and you're able to grow your own food from there. Here, one of the reason is that we grow 3 times faster. The reason is that for most towers, the plants are hanging, so you have more oxygen getting to the roots of the plants. So in that way, because of the water and more oxygen getting to the plants, you're able to grow faster. Most of what we do is grow leafy vegetables. We could grow cucumbers and so forth, but mostly our leafy crops, anything from lettuce, cabbage, and celery, bok choy. One of the reasons is why tower garden or tower the plants have so much nutrients. It's the one of the solutions, the natural way. Because when you have a plant like in a hydroponic system, the plants are just sitting in that solution. So sometimes you get taste maybe a little bit bitter or a taste is off. But because we have plants hanging and the roots are suspended in the air, we have natural oxygen getting to that plant. So you have a better taste in plants. In Number 4, one of the best thing and one of the things that I like about why I really needed to get to this, because of course, as a farmer, we have weather, and with the towers, we have some of the state-of-the-art technology that we can control the growth, the weather pattern, because like in the rain season, most farmers here in Jamaica are not able to grow like lettuce because of the rain. We have problems with tomato, and this is where we would be able to grow more on a controlled greenhouse setting with the towers. We're able to do that. So we have the small towers, and the smallest towers, like the family size towers that you'll be able to use on your balcony or in your office or restaurant. We go from 7 pots. And also for the commercial side tower, the commercial sides of the tower, we go up to 13 pots, 13 pots plants. And in that way, we're able to grow without taking up a lot of land space. So we're not worried about not able to have enough land because we're growing vertical. One thing is it simplified. It simplified the process. Yes, I still do plant from regular farming, but the process is simplified because now we don't have to think about the pesticides and we don't have to think about because we control that environment. Also, you could grow outdoor. Um, the next, simplify the farm process. So we are taking away, like with the towers, we don't have to do feeding. We don't have to do a lot of tractoring. That takes away a lot of expense. The expenses from dirt, the regular farming, you know. So it's much simpler, and we like to call it the clean way of farming. We don't have a lot of that to deal with. So the size, like I was saying before, we have a small size that goes from 2 feet, but and that's on the residential side of things. On the commercial side of farm, like what I have, or you know, we go up to I think it's almost 8 feet tall, 13 on 13 pots. A tower garden has four pots that we place 4 plants on each at each pot. So when you're going up, you have more way of going vertical than going horizontal. Here, like I said, if you have 12, we could feed 24 people at a time, just on a small. One of the nice thing about having tower, especially for your tower farm, your residential tower farm, is that you don't have to, like, if you're gonna have a head of lettuce, or you don't have to reap all that. You could reap the bottom leaves and they keep growing. They keep growing back over time. So you don't have to just take out the whole lettuce head if it's transport. But commercial side, of course, will send that to the farm. And like I said, in most of the communities, we don't have space because of my bauxite. We just don't have space anymore to do that kind. Okay? Here, growing sustainable and reducing the water costs. Water, water is a big issue, especially in the dry season. Dry season, we have a lot of drought. Like last year, we had a huge 6 months worth of drought, where if we had towers, we wouldn't worry so much about because the reservoir holds that water and it is continuously flowing on a timer system. We use 98% less water, the water that is recycled and on that timer, so we don't use as much water and we don't have to worry about the drought and dry season. And here, this one of the six reason is that we could plant about 150 different kinds of plants on tower. We go from cabbage, kale, cucumber, celery, um, tomatoes, just about anything that we put on the towers. So we have 150 different kinds of plants to choose from. The investments for me, or for most people who have a tower farm, is a lifelong process. You know, it's sustainable. We're able, and the what it's built from is very durable. You're able to have a lifelong process of being able to provide food without worrying about the weather or whether we have proper soil to grow on. So that's the 7 reasons why we have the tower farm. So if you have any, we're gonna, yeah, and then I'll show you how it actually works. So this is this is a, this would be a regular home tower. Of course, now we have the newer, nicer, big home towers, but this is a 7, what we call a 7-pot height. This 7 pots. So I'll show you that from here. This is a scale, and this is the roots are suspended here. We're able to grow just this our spring or growing strawberries, all your fruits and vegetables. We have the lettuce here. This is what I was saying about lettuce. Like if this is a home tower, not that it's a commercial site. Commercial site, we would just cut one of the lettuce head, and of course we'll send it to the market just like that. But if you're growing for yourself and inside of the garden, you'll just reap the lower leaves. As you reap the lower leaves, it sits there, the water moves by itself. Swiss chard is the rainbow Swiss chard, and has some brothers here, and back joy. Also, we have what we call the black mint or the grand that we have. So this is basically how it works, and it's a great investment, and I'm just grateful to be able to bring it here to Jamaica and restore pride to my community that has lost its pride because of bauxite mining. Thanks for having me. Okay. So the questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Roxanne. Such a wonderful presentation. You know, right there we can see innovation at work. You know, and that's just so timely. I would ask if there are any questions. I know during your presentation, a couple of persons had raised their hands, but I was not able to get, I did make note of the persons who had raised their hands. But at this time, if there are any questions, kindly either type them in the chat or you can unmute and ask Roxanne directly. Well, I know somebody from the chat was asking Roxanne, there was one question I remembered. They were asking if, where could they access the instruments, you know, the different components for the tower farming. So we could start with that.
Whenever you so all the parts are being shipped. Whenever you get you buy a farm, because it's a complete turnkey farm that we get shipped out to you. All the components, the pump, everything that you're ready to go. The only thing that you will need to supply when it's being shipped from the States here would be water. The nutrients, the coca coil or the rock wool, all of that is being shipped, and it's a turnkey farm that you're getting. So all you would need to do is set up the site where you're going to have this farm, and all you would need to do is have water. And of course, we have it with Tower Farm. The great thing about that is that they will have some of their consultants come down here to Jamaica, of course, and I mean, help you set up and give you some proper training on how to go forward with that. Yeah, the question.
Okay, sorry, I was muted. Thanks, Roxanne, for that response. Are there any other questions?
Question: what sort of cost for one of the towers? Average cost for one of the towers.
Give you an average on the residential side and also the commercial side. I know the residential side right now, I don't think it's would be almost $1,000 without shipping. But just this 7 pot system, not the 13 high system. There would be, but just so, but if you're talking about just the residential part, it would be almost $1,000. If we're talking about the farm itself, which is a turnkey system, that's a different cost, depending on how many towers you want to ship to Jamaica. You can ship anywhere from 20 to 1,000. So
Thanks, Roxanne. Okay, due to the we are pressed against time, of course. In this virtual space, we have limited time, and we're going to be moving on to Mr. Paul Barrett's presentation. However, contacts for Roxanne Little will be made available at the St. Anne Parish office, or any RADA parish office. It will also be posted on the RADA website and also on the RADA Instagram page, so you can check there for further contact information for Roxanne Little, where she can answer more of your questions. And also, I think I was told by the producer that Roxanne Little also has videos available on YouTube. All right, so we're going to be moving straight now to Mr. Paul Black. Roxanne, thank you so much for that lovely presentation. And we just pray that you'll grow from strength to strength, and we will be in touch. Thanks a lot. Mr. Paul Barrett. And Mr. Paul Barrett, of course, was involved in farming from his childhood. He is of a military background, specifically Coast Guard. He has been involved in aquaponics since August of 2011, and he's an independent consultant with InMed Caribbean since 2011 also. And there are a host of other involvements that Mr. Barrett has been involved with USAID, UNDP, and a number of other projects also with CASE. That's the College of Agriculture, Science and Education in Portland. And he, of course, will be telling you much more. And so without any further ado, I now welcome and turn over to Mr. Paul Barrett, as he will be doing a presentation on aquaponics. Mr. Barrett, over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure if you're seeing my screen. Are you hearing me? Are you seeing my screen?
We're hearing you clearly, but I'm not seeing your screen.
How is that now?
Yes, we're seeing your screen now. Sure.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Shaw. And I'm not sure what's happening. I'm seeing some shapes coming up on my presentation, which I'm not too sure if you're seeing that too.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think we're getting some external interference.
Yeah.
Our IT personnel, they are aware of it and they are working to remedy the situation.
Okay.
We sincerely apologize to our viewers and our presenters for this.
Okay, let me proceed as best as I can. Thank you again, Mr. Shaw, and thank you very, very much, Roxanne. I'm quite pleased with your presentation. I think that we could in future perhaps collaborate and discuss some other factors that would definitely benefit the two processes of agricultural production. So that's a little bit about me. I think Mr. Shaw did cover enough already. I don't need to go into that, but let me just quickly talk to you about the background. The purpose of this presentation is to first and foremost highlight some of the risks that we are faced with, the challenges that we are faced with, not only here in the Caribbean, but definitely in more specifically to Jamaica. The risks that we face really threaten our food industry. Our farmers are vulnerable to those. Urban communities have limited accesses, and all of those impact and affect how we secure our food. In recent times, there are new and proven concepts that have come about that will definitely improve how food is produced.
Yeah, just reshare for us.
Okay, may I proceed?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Climate change will increasingly affect us in more ways than one. These are just a few of them that are probably most prevalent and most in our face. These are the impacts: exposure, insecurity, public health issues, malnutrition, hunger, threat to survival, threat to our livelihoods. We think that aquaponics is a solution that will provide certain cushion effects to the insecurity that we face. It's resilient to climate change shocks. It provides water harvesting. It's usually powered by a solar system, and it recycles and reuses resources. It also grows food safely and securely. What is aquaponics? Well, it's a climate smart way of producing crops. It's an integrated method of growing fish and vegetables in a water-based ecosystem. The water is recycled. It removes the water, the crops remove nutrients from that water. The water is relatively clean and it goes back to a fish habitat. Some of the benefits: it's environmentally friendly, it's climate resilient, it uses up to 90% less water. You don't use synthetic chemicals in it because that's harmful to the fish. It's income generating, it grows crops faster, nearly twice as fast. It's urban friendly, so you really need no arable land to set it up. And it consistently produces. And why is it relevant to us? Why aquaponics? One, it's adaptive to climate change. Two, it provides security. It reduces and manages waste. It provides money earning capability, helps them achieve self-reliance, it promotes good nutrition, it's scalable, it's safe, it encourages learning, it develops new skill. It's really, it's aesthetically pleasing and it's very relaxing. The inputs in an aquaponic system would be, you need a water, you need baby fish or fry or fingerlings, you need fish food, you need seedlings, you need supplement minerals because it's usually short on iron, potassium, and calcium, and those are usually derived from the kind of feed that is fed to the fish. There's bacteria already present in the system. Those are positive bacteria that's used to convert ammonia waste into usable fertilizer by the crops. And the outputs, of course, will be your mature fish, high quality organic crops, and the fertilizer from the fish that can be harvested and it can be composted and used in normal traditional farming. Aquaponic system grow mostly leafy vegetables and it grows it quite quickly. If you look at the little picture there, there's one which shows that lady holding up scallion that was grown in aquaponic system. You can look at the root structure, look at the plant itself. Both were planted at the same time. And the one, of course, in the right traditional crop, give water, give normal fertilizer. Because of the kind of soil that she had, though, that was what the outcome looked like. So it grows things fast and it's safer to use. And this is someone who can manage a system anywhere in her front yard, backyard, or back veranda. The fish of choice in aquaponic systems generally is tilapia, especially here in Jamaica. It grows well in high densities. It can be produced 10 times and more in the same space. It's a good hardy fish. They don't usually feed on each other, so they live well together in close proximity. They're easily reproduced, and we have excellent local sources through the Ministry of Fisheries. And the feed is locally produced through Hypro, and it does have good market appeal. People will always be looking for tilapia to purchase. So generally speaking, aquaponics food are without harmful chemical concerns, generally organically approved pesticides to safeguard against toxicity to fish. It's naturally and organically produced, although it's not certified because that will require a little bit of quite a bit of processing. It does have a longer shelf life, and there's documents and there's research to support that. The food source, of course, is traceable because it's something you can manage a little bit better in controlled environments. It's refreshing and nutritious, good taste. We consider women and youth in farming to be primary targets for aquaponic systems. That's because it's easily managed, it's easy to handle. Although it takes a disciplined approach, there's not much of the back breaking out during the hot sun with a fork and machete work. It can be used in a place of and because of the inputs, you find that it's something that can be used pretty much anywhere. Schools, green space in urban centers, ornamental fish farmers could use it, rehabilitation centers because of the therapeutic applications, restaurant gardens, small farms, and the list goes on. In particular, we think given the risks that we face with climate change and because of access to land, limited land access, growing crops in a more dense, safe, where it doesn't require the use of arable land. We think that urban farmers, not to rule out rural farmers, but if they do have more access to land. So this is something that could really appeal to that demographic. The opportunity there is that they have access to large and local markets. And usually those persons are really, really resourceful and hard workers. Various income streams from aquaponic system: sale of crops, sale of fish, educational tours, events. You could even do a little line fishing event. I've seen that happen. farmers market, it provides a really good environment for that to happen there. And of course, the sale of the mineralized rich nutrient compost. They are also scalable and can be designed to fit wherever it is that you have space. The systems are scalable and can be put anywhere based on budget. This is a small system that I would like to just to show you a little bit of. This is also a little mini system. This one could be applied to a veranda. And all of these systems were designed and built here in Jamaica. This is another one, a little bit larger. All right, now there are other systems as well. This one is more suitable for a small farmer or a backyard setup. And you hear a quick testimonial from somebody here who owns a system.
You could share screen with computer audio. You're not hearing the sound, sir, Bart.
Oh.
Yes, you could reshare with computer audio.
Sorry. All right, so we could provide this video and the audio to it later on as we press our time. But what was being said, they were really remarking as to how well it was doing and how the owner of it was actually exclaiming that it's a system that is really producing a lot faster than his 50 years of experience in farming. He's seeing pak choy being harvested in the space of 1 month to sizes that are usually equal to systems in the field for almost 2 months. So in terms of here in Jamaica, we do have a support structure for aquaponics from the Ministry of Agriculture through RADA extension officers who have been trained in aquaponics cultivation. We do have enough input suppliers, building materials, fish seeds, builders, solar, all of those inputs are very important, and persons are warming to the island now, even for financing, it's getting there. In terms of technical support, training and business planning, there are organizations like InMed Caribbean that really, they brought it here in 2011 on a commercial scale with funding from USAID. Institutions like CASE, Nakalva Polytechnic School, those are really there and they're operating systems right now, and they can be of great help to persons who have that interest. Private companies like Aponics Limited, whose design you're seeing here, they're also there for technical support, and of course, independent consultants like myself. Also for funding and development in that regard, usually you'll find that most project implementers, they would receive funding from donor agencies like USAID, CDB, IDB. In the past, they have also supported aquaponics agriculture in Jamaica. And there's a project currently being undertaken and run by InMed Caribbean, funded by IDB, USAID, and of course with support from the Caribbean Development Bank, that is focusing on getting persons more interested in aquaponics. They provide funding, not funding, they provide training which is funded, and that's through an online portal. There is business coaching and business planning. There's a technical support and construction links, and of course links to bank for persons who want to venture on a commercial basis. And one of those key partners in Jamaica right now with aquaponics is InMed Caribbean. They came to Jamaica in 2011, first introducing aquaponics through funding by USAID. And they focus on climate smart agriculture, school gardening, climate change adaptation. And they are ones now who are implementing the IACA project. They are in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture through the RADA office, through the Ministry of Fisheries, and a few other partners. And they focus on training, technical support, and of course in business planning. And that's their email address right there. And they focus on their design. Their particular design is made from local materials, concrete. These are some pictures of their system. It usually is a method of growing in aquaponic system called ebb and flow system, which they have employed as their choice of methodologies. And it's one that has from commercial scale right down to backyard scale. Right, another company, Aponics Limited. This is just a quick view of their technical staff, persons who are well experienced, and they are going into the design and the setup of a full and complete picture of what aquaponics is like in Jamaica, and they provide the range of services for persons who want to be involved in aquaponics. And these are some of the links that will provide you with information, direct information about aquaponics. The video, again, I'll have to share that later on as we're pressed for time, but this is the data that you can find on aquaponics that supports the discussion that the presentation that I've just produced and presented. So that's the presentation, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you have any questions for me. I'd be happy to answer them.
Mr. Barrett, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Presentation was on point and very, very informative. We will, well, owing to the time, I'm gonna just give our one of the questions that came in, the producer sent to me was, of course, an economical unit cost. So when we look at all of what you have presented, what is an economical unit cost for anyone who is interested?
All right, so it depends on the scale of the system. You're looking at the small system that I just showed you earlier, the one that the farmer was commenting on. With a solar system, complete solar system, and a production cycle of around, if my memory serves me right, they were producing from a 200 square foot system around 200 pounds of leafy greens per month. Right, sorry, they were producing about 200 pounds of leafy greens per month. And they did a quick projection of it in terms of the return on investment was around 2 years. And they were looking at operational cost. Annual operational cost was about $150,000 with a $1.1 million return annually. And that would be inclusive of the crops, which would generate around 65% of their income. And the fish, which would be stocked every 3 months, was producing around just about 300 pounds of fish every 3 months. Given, of course, they would have started with the fish at very small size, 1 gram. It would have taken 9 months for that fish to mature, and then every 3 months thereafter, they would be able to harvest as long as they put fish in the system. So there is sufficient information and evidence to support aquaponics from a viability perspective. And certainly support is there to take persons through the entire process, from training to business planning, to business support, to technical information, to persons within the network who will be able to provide the services that they would require, given that they wouldn't necessarily have the experience, and then take them through to assisting them to even get loans to be able to build a system. That's what the IACA process does provide. So, for instance, if the smaller system you saw there, the 2 smaller systems, of course, would be considerably cheaper. A system like the one I mentioned before was running around $1.9 million with solar included, and that would include the first year operation as well.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. All right, so my producer just informed me that I can take 2 questions. So if there is anyone else.
I see Yvonne Galaxy.
Okay, sure. Okay, Yvonne, you can go ahead. Unmute. No. Yvonne, you still have your hand up. All right.
Is it went down?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm on it now. But I think the question was answered just now. What's the cost for the smallest size? Just the cost, because I think we're given a lot of information that really confused us. Really, what would it cost, regardless of what the return on investment would be? What is the cost to set up a small aquaponics system?
And the small one you're speaking about is which one of the 3 videos I showed? Is it the one where the gentleman was speaking, or was it the first one with the pink?
The mini system.
I believe, based on what I was advised by Aponics Limited, it's around 83,000 Jamaican dollars, and it would require about a week for production, and then that includes transportation and delivery. It also includes your startup kit for the complete setup.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Barrett.